Okay. In this case, we can start. Dear friends, the month of July is over. Now it's the early days of August. In the previous months, we've been quite active in terms of our meetings. We had 6 broadcasts in total. We had similar meetings to today. We had presentations. I answered the most topical questions that you had. And today we're going to have a small recapping of the events that happened in July, and we're going to have a small analysis or prediction of what's going to happen in the next few months, both in terms of the development of the string transportation technology, where we can just predict, do our guesswork, and then we'll talk about the plans of our platform RSW systems for this period of time. So please tell me, dear friends, usually on Thursday, we have our regular clients, experienced, seasoned investors in the string transportation technology. Please give me some feedback on the promotion that we had in July, how effective it was for you when working with your prospects. Probably for you personally, it was quite relevant because some of you might have increased their investment portfolio. How much did you like that promotion? Yes, it was quite similar to the previous promotions, but we ran such promotions in the spirit of seasonal discounts or happy hours for regulars. So I have some feedback for the previous promotions. Now I would like to compare and discuss with you the last promotion, whether you liked such a promotion when the discount was at least 1.5 times better than the previous one, how interesting it was for you, both for your personal portfolios and for your potential clients. So give me some feedback how attractive this investment opportunity was that we had in July. Alex says it was a super opportunity. Good. Dear friends, let's be as interactive as possible today, because I would like to have as many people as possible participating in our today's conversation meeting. We know we've known each other for quite a long time. We shouldn't be shy, and to provide feedback is very important. Alex said it's a super opportunity. Let's repeat it. Yeah, I would like to do that too. Let's see if you would like to have it again. While you're writing, I will take some of the questions from the chat written in English, for example, and then I will have them translated in Google. I have a comment from the UK. Welcome, Roshima. Thank you very much for your feedback. You've been a part of our platform since 2016. Very good. Very attractive. Vlastimil says, I joined both discounts. Vlastimil Lisak. Thank you. Greg says, yes, I would like to have this promotion repeated too. Good. Just 5 people gave their feedback. Friends, it's too little, too few. And we have like 70 people, at least 70 people in here. That's the number of people I can see. Alex says, not all of my partners had time enough to participate. Okay. Sergey says, there have been doubts. Could you please clarify what kind of doubts you're talking about? That's why we are having such meetings, to deal with all the doubts that you have, to discuss them. Paresh Patel says, repeat the discount offer. Okay, I'll note it. You know, friends, let me deviate here a little bit. What I like about our project, what I like about the approach and the technology in general, and the approach employed by Dr. Unitsky and his team, the company is as transparent and open as possible when doing their business, starting from technical aspects to financial aspects, and the entire financial investment framework that the company is using for people to become co-owners. As for our crowdfunding platform, on which we are all working, we also provide all answers to all of these questions. Well, if we have objective and rational questions, we give objective and rational answers. There is nothing we hide. Well, except for commercial secrets like know-hows and confidential informations. Those are need to know information, and everything else is quite transparent regarding the operations of the company, and there are answers to all questions. Please, friends, continue writing your messages, and I will meanwhile have them translated. And Sergey Ivanov, I will go back to your comment because you are not the only one to write this. Someone says, give us an opportunity to visit Eco Techno Park as promotion or something other way. It's N. Hazarika. Could you please, N. Hazarika, write what region you're from, what country you're from? N. Hazarika. Please tell us your country or region. And while I'm waiting for the answer from India. Okay. I will write it down. A bullet point, visiting Eco Techno Park, because this is something I would like to talk to you about as well. Sergey Ivanov says that such discounts should be enjoyed by old investors. Well, out of the comments that I read right now, I can make a conclusion that for the majority of our users, this kind of promotion or periodical promotions, temporary promotions, are of your liking. And some of you, as I understand, increased their investment portfolios using that promotion. Yelena says, we like such promotions, but we do not always are able to finish paying one installment plan and then open a new one. Well, in this case, you don't have to actually open every time a new installment plan in order to avoid like a financial burden. That's why we have why we run such promotions from time to time, and we offer installments. In the last year or half a year, we had similar promotions every month, but we still gave the opportunity to our investors to choose the one they like best. For example, to increase, if you want to increase your own investment portfolio without investing heavily, you can be an active agent. You attract new investors, and by earning more commission, you can invest that extra money into expanding your personal investment portfolio. So you become an active participant, and that's where you can take advantage of the affiliate program. Well, but of course, if you do experience some financial challenges that prevent you from using our promotions every single time, just just follow certain criteria, financial literacy requirements, and do not bite more than you can chew. Otherwise, you'll have some negative consequences because, if you bite more than you can chew, you can choke. And that's not a pleasant thing to have. But jokes aside, still, there is some grain of truth in it, right? Okay. Elena says, that's what I'm doing. And that's good. And that is why it's good that we have such regular promotions. Okay, now let's go back to the comment made by Sergey Ivanov that says that the discounts for new investors were too high. Well, you're kind of right. They are kind of high compared to the current discounts. If you remember correctly, a couple of meetings ago, I introduced a notion. Well, I coined a notion, and I said that at this current stage, you remember why we have such promotions when the discounts are higher than the market discounts. So after, please wait, I will finish my thought. So can you remember the reason why we periodically run such promotions that have the discounts that we had a couple of years ago? What allows the root company to allow the fundraising platforms to offer such promotions, such high discounts? What is the rationale? What is the grounds? How come the company is able to offer such discounts? Those of you who participated in our meetings should remember where the company, how is the company able to offer such discounts. Sergey says that there have been lack of funding and not all of the shares that were intended to be sold were sold. And also the generosity of the founder, of the creator, the inventor of the technology. Yes, that's correct as well. Well, you might remember that there were periods where Dr. Unitsky, it was back in 2015 or 2016, allowed people to use discount 600. Imagine there is a group of investors who took advantage of that opportunity, and the only condition was for people to monthly pay for those packages for them to remain active. But the discount was 600. Gregory says, I remember that discount and I even participated in it. Imagine there are clients right now that are buying pre-IPO shares at discount 600 still. So this is in continuation of Gregory's comment about the generosity of the human soul and the farsightedness of the creator. Yes, indeed. Back then, it was very advantageous for early investors who came to invest into the technology among the first. And of course, it is very important, very advantageous for them to continue paying for packages, considering by how much the discounts have decreased. So, dear friends, because of lack of funding for the technology over the entire range of stages, the company has shaped a pool of pre-IPO shares in reserve that the company is able to use for different promotions, as part of different promotions, to be used both by our platform and our colleagues from the Sky World community. They have similar promotions, and this is quite normal and explainable. Therefore, talking about fairness, whether it's fair or not. So imagine, well, let's draw a comparison. In standard, in a traditional business, any business, you procure goods and you were not able to sell all of your goods. I'm just using a simple terms example. So what happens by the end of the season or sometime later? That goods are sold, those goods are sold at a discount. And it's quite normal when a company once a season or once a year sells their goods at a discount, which is quite normal. And people who bought the goods when the collection was released might have bought those goods 3 or 4 times higher than the discount price. And they shouldn't be insulted or offended that some people bought the same goods at a big discount. It's about luck, opportunity. It's not even about luck. I mean, probably some people were in the right place at the right time. Or for some people, it was more important to buy the goods right when they were released, and some people were ready to wait and take a risk and buy the goods from that collection a year later. Well, some people might think that this example is not entirely correct, but I wanted just to show you that there is some logic behind it and the explanation why it happens. And if such promotions happen, there is nothing wrong about it or incorrect. So, dear friends, when such promotions are run, you should take advantage of them. Andre says, still, such privileges should apply only to old investors, and new investors are now enjoying more beneficial terms. Well, not exactly. The new investors are using the terms that were in force a couple of years ago. But outside of the promotion, they will have to use the current market discounts. So it's apples and oranges. You just have to take it, or you consider it as an additional opportunity, because there is no free market right now that would regulate the pre-IPO shares of the company. Of course, in the future, there will be free market regulation. The capitalization of the company will influence the price. And when our pre-IPO shares become shares, then it's going to be a completely different story and the prices will be completely different. At this stage, when we run our promotions, it's an additional opportunity for each of your friends to purchase something cheaper than what it's going to cost in the future. So I think this point is more or less clear. Next, just give me a second, okay? I will go back to some of the questions that I yet have to translate into Russian. Why ask for dividends before the official launch in the market, and then you need 2 more years to think about it? Hiroshima, I'm not sure I understood your question. Could you please rephrase it to make it easier for Google Translate to translate it? Okay, Roshima wrote a couple of comments. If possible, let's see what you mean, because Google Translate doesn't entirely give me. Well, Roshima was I guess, addressing herself to other participants, not to me, that she said, why would you ask for dividends before the company goes into market? Now I understand what you meant, Hiroshima. Yes, I agree. And like people should be looking at the bigger picture, not be greedy. Exactly. Thank you for your support. Well, there is another topic that a lot of people raise almost at every single meeting, but we should start from the basics, from square one. What is IPO and when does it happen? We have like 100 people already here in this room, in the Russian speaking room at least. We're not novices here. I think each of you individually probably looked into what IPO is, what it happens, under what circumstances. You probably looked into recent examples of companies launching their IPOs. So write me in the chat what IPO is, in your opinion, and when the company is able to launch this procedure. And then I will be able to answer the question related to the IPO. Let's do some groundwork first. Let's do it together. So what is IPO? Alexander says that IPOs are used to raise huge amounts of money. Well, yes, you can launch an IPO for raising more funds or to capitalize to monetize the assets of your company for early investors to be able to share their share or to sell their shares. Elena says it's the initial public offering. It's the initial placement of shares on a stock market. It can be one stock market or it can be a series of stock markets. So a company can get listed on one exchange, then another exchange. Okay. Now, when the company is allowed or capable to go to launch their IPO, does everyone know the procedure? What needs to happen before the company goes to a serious market? It can be US stock market or a European stock market or Asian stock market. There are quite a lot of different exchanges. So what the company has to do before doing that, Alexander says at least 3 years of reporting on profits. So if we take a look at the recent news from the company of 2023, the financial report, we will see that the company has now reached the self-sustainability or self-sufficiency level, or they recently broke even at the break-even point. But still, it needs some additional funding to pick up pace, to accelerate, and that's what we're doing as part of the crowdfunding platform in order for the company to continue operating and for the technology to continue developing, upgrading, testing, etc. So one thing is to ensure that the entire framework, the entire technological mechanism is operating. And another thing is the innovation aspect of it, because Dr. Nitsky is upgrading all the time his models and his tracks, because at first a design is created, then tested, certified, then upgraded, tested again, and it goes on, rinse and repeat. So you shouldn't be thinking that if the company reached a break-even point or self-sufficiency point, that our participation in terms of raising funds is over. No, au contraire. A lot of technical, innovative things require additional funding. And also, we should remember that we are investing into the development of the technology, and then the company takes care of both development, testing, certification, and then going to the market. So answering your question regarding the IPO, friends, we should understand that this is not a goal in itself of the company. And for us, as the investors in the string transportation technology, it shouldn't be a goal in itself, because we are right now co-owners of the root company. We are stakeholders of global transport investment through several holdings. And even in this format, or even in this way of being co-owners, we should not necessarily be waiting for the IPO to see the monetization, the capitalization of our funds. Why? Because if we refer to the report of 2023 by the general designer and the CEO of the group of companies of Dr. Yunitsky, sometimes I might misspeak and use the old terms, but I'll try to use the new terms. So basically, we shouldn't be waiting for the IPO to see the monetization and capitalization. UST, that's the official name of the company, not Skyway or anything else. Well, I think it's the first time that it slipped off my tongue that I said called the group of companies Skyway and not UST, Unitsky String Transportation Technology. But sometimes, you go back to your old ways. I can tell you even more. We have a Labrador retriever in my family, and we called that pet Sky. And that's why the word sky follows me always. So I might sometimes misspeak and say Skyway, whereas of course I should be using UST or Dr. Yunitsky's company. So for us to move to the stage of capitalization and monetization, Dr. Yunitsky in December 2023 said that by the year 2025, the company will create a legal financial framework that will allow us to participate in the allocation of profits if and when the company will start receiving those profits. And there are prerequisites for the company to start receiving profits, because a couple of times per month, the company announces the start of works within different projects, commercial projects. We all know that the company has more than 50 commercial projects in the pipeline right now. And this scope of volume of preliminary orders is increasing. But those are not the orders that the company had when we first started working on the crowdfunding platform, raising funds. Remember that in 2013, 2014, Dr. Yunitsky already had a certain pool of preliminary orders for his technology that were waiting in line for the company to be developed, created, tested, and certified. Already back then, there was a pool of potential customers. But then, of course, the time has come. People, of officials in the office have changed, because a considerable period of time has passed since then. If we're comparing it to orders of early 2000s or even early 1990s, Dr. Yunitsky already had some potential customers. Back then, Dr. Yunitsky didn't have any legal entities behind his name like UST or Dr. Yunitsky's Construction Bureau, etc. But back then, it was already, for me personally, reason enough to presume that when the technology is viable, there will be even more orders. So those preliminary commercial projects were replaced by fresh projects, recent projects, with a clear understanding that those projects or the customers have actual intentions to implement those commercial projects. And Alexander right now put it quite correctly. He said that there are a lot of projects at different stages of development, hundreds of them, and the company does not disclose the entire information about those projects because they signed NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and it's all about confidentiality. For example, some customers themselves, before a certain stage, ask the company not to disclose the information about their projects, locations, who the customer is, etc., because there are state orders coming from the state, and different countries have different political interests. There is competition, and you, being adult investors in that particular area, should understand that the company would not showcase all of their projects. But I know for sure that there are projects out there that are already at an advanced stage of, let's say, operations. And if we extend the topic of IPO, but let's first understand, let's first deal with the question of not even IPO, but what we're interested in is when the company starts receiving profits and what company we are related to. That's what should be of interest of us. When the company that we are related to will start receiving profits. So regardless of So I'm kind of getting distracted by the chat all the time. So sorry if I jump from one topic to another. I will answer all of your questions, but let me finish the train of my thought, original thought. So regardless of when the IPO happens, when the company starts making profits, if the correct legal financial framework is in place, once the profits are received, we will participate in the distribution of those profits, allocation of those profits. But take into account that we are geographically spread across the entire world with different jurisdictions and taxation systems. The mechanism, the framework that Dr. Nitsky mentioned is quite complex. It's quite far-reaching, and the goal there is to make sure that the interest of all investors are covered. And that requires time, that requires a lot of human resources, legal work. And we should understand that it might happen in 2025 or even a little bit later. But we should understand that that's the direction the company is going. And if Dr. Yunitsky mentioned it, usually that's what is going to happen because it is his habit. He always true to his word. And if there are some deviations or delays probably in the schedule or some other external factors in play, we will know all of that in a timely manner. After all, we're living in times when a very wise saying rings true. In our world, there is nothing more sure or more constant than changes. And that's what the world we're living in, when the political situation, geopolitical situation, financial situation changes all the time. A crisis follows another crisis. So even if there are changes, we should also always take it with a grain of understanding. What matters is that the company in the near future will start sharing its profits once it receives those profits. But as for the IPO, dear friends, well, let's assume that in 2025, 2026, the company starts receiving profits and then starts sharing those profits with its investors. And I'm it's all hypothetical, okay? Theoretically, if the company has the opportunity to go and launch their IPO at 50 cents per share, after the company goes all the procedures, converts the pre-IPO shares into shares, and then lists them at 50 cents or $1. And then the company has 3, 4, 5 projects at the construction stage already. And let's take a situation when the company has 55 or 105 such projects, and then the company launches its IPO by 2035 or 2030 in 10 years. So do you think the price of those shares will be still $1 or it will be like $10 or $15? The growth potential is going to be higher or lower. So please try to understand my thought here. Instead of going to the IPO, the company is implementing projects and receiving profits, and then gradually starts sharing those profits with us, the investors. And then eventually in 2030 or 2035, the company decides to launch its IPO. So our shares, once they become shares, will not cost $1 anymore. They will cost $15. So what's more profitable, to launch an IPO early at a low price, or to launch it later when the growth potential is much bigger and the market price of the share is way bigger than the nominal price? And at the same time, we do not lose anything, because during that period, we already receive some kind of profits. We are already sharing the profits of the company in the form of dividends or any other form. Well, the logic dictates that the second option, of course, waiting and receiving dividends, is better. So if we take Tesla company or Apple company, since the day of their foundation, they took quite a lot of time to launch their IPO. Well, Apple took less time because they are an IT company and they do not have the infrastructural product like we do. But our product is better or more even large scale than Boeing or the entire aviation industry. So we cannot reduce the waiting period because the entire process is way more complex and time demanding. So let's continue our comparison with Apple. They, if I'm not mistaken, launched their IPO 5 years later. After their foundation, and the first dividends were paid like 15 or 17 years later. Then they stopped paying dividends, and then they started paying dividends again. And the same stands for Tesla company. They launched their IPO like several dozens of years after they were founded. But as soon as they went into the market, they cost like huge money. The share price was huge. So what I'm driving at here is that what matters for us, important for us, is not the IPO itself, but for the company to expand its geography, its presence in the international market, and start implementing commercial projects. And that's what is going to happen in the near future. I know it for sure. I believe in it because the technology is solid, and Dr. Initsky and his team already has 2 commercial viable products, urban passenger transportation and cargo transportation, with different technical solutions for different kinds of customers, from light solutions to like heavy duty solutions, starting from loose goods to containers, like fuel tanks, etc. And both passenger urban transportation and cargo transportation has dozens of sub-solutions. And this is what the company can sell, and that's what they're doing. And we're directly related to it because our funds were used to implement all of that. But we should not always also forget that Anatoly Yunitsky's personal money was invested, especially at the early stage of the project, when even before the crowdfunding platform. regarding the high-speed transportation, we will go back to that topic. And let me go back to Yelena's comment. It was quite long, and I will read it out. Regarding the dividends, I hope it's clear, and the IPO topic. I hope the logic behind it is clear. What I'm saying, I'm expressing my personal opinion, but it's quite close to the reality. Yelena says, I'm interested in one question, whom I can talk to from the managers of the Skyway production. Well, UST, okay, to receive full information. You, Maxim, as far as I understand, have information from 2022 to 2024. I've been with the company since 2014, 10 years, and I would like to receive specific concrete answers. So a lot of changes happened in whose favor? Probably not in the favor of 10 years ago, and I would like to have up-to-date information. Yelena, with all due respect to you and to what you wrote, that you've been an investor since 2014, I would like to disappoint you or probably surprise you. I've been an investor since the same year. I've been an investor in string transportation technology since 2014. It's been 11 years for me as well. I'm a full-fledged investor as you are. As for the information I have, I've always had the correct information since day one. I've been a participant in one of the international conferences on string transportation technology back in 2014. It was an international conference with participants from all corners of the world. There were people from Moldova, Turkey, Russia, Ukraine, Bulgaria, many different countries. It was back in 2014, and I was one of the organizers of that conference. So I didn't have the information only since 2022. I've always had information since day one. So I have a legal entity. I've had a legal entity since 2017, and I started working with the engineering company back in 2017. So you can take a look at watch old videos where back in 2017, I brought the first delegation from the city of Odessa, from the local transportation administration. And it was one of the first delegations and one of the first potential clients for string transportation technology back then. And my company was the direct customer, my legal entity, and we presented that technology to the administration of the city. There were video reports, news reports on official media of the engineering company as well. So, Yelena, you're not entirely correct in your comment. As for my personal competence and information awareness, but you're asking whom you can talk to from the managers of the company. Engineering company, I guess, production company. But what kind of information you would like to have? You can ask me, and I probably will have it. You are saying that changes that happened were not in favor of the early investors who came 10 years ago. Please clarify what kind of changes you're talking about, because I came to this project 10 years ago as you did you. So what changed and wasn't in our favor? We still have all the benefits. Talking about the high-speed technology, if that's what you mean, then we will go back to that topic because, well, we've already discussed this topic at least 3 times during 3 different meetings, and I just tried to logically describe what is happening. So basically, going back to how it started 10 years ago. 10 years ago, there was just one company that we were part of. It was called Global Transport Investment, a holding. And through that holding, our names were entered into the list of shareholders. registry of shareholders. And then the company started acquiring, setting up other legal entities, and then it was like branching off different legal entities. So over those years, over all the stages of development, and the stages of development that were announced at the start of our path showed the vector of development of the company, how it was supposed to go. And if we take specific years and stages, we should realize that not everything went according to the original plan. In the perfect best case scenario, we would have the full implementation of the plan, but the base case scenario would imply 100% of funds raised plus 100% consent of the local administration to allow the construction and the certification. We lost a couple of years because the first project was supposed to be implemented in Latvia, in the Baltic state, but then the local administration prohibited Dr. Inytsky to make any further advancements, any further steps. Although we already knew by then what land we would like to use, we knew by then where the construction bureau would be, then the R&D institute, and back then the Ministry of Transportation and a certain group of individuals did their best to make sure that this technology is not implemented in the Baltic states. There were political motives, local geopolitical reasons involved, but mainly it's because of the local competition. So if you remember it, you should remember the whole sequence of events. And then the year 2015 happened, and in Belarus, the first works started, creating the construction bureau, the design bureau, the setting up of Dr. Inytsky's company with one founder, Dr. Inytsky himself. And in 9 years, this company is now 1,000 people strong, the total number of staff. So over that period of time, a lot of changes happened naturally, and external factors, starting from lack of funding or different obstacles in the path of the implementation of the performance of works, both of the Eco Technopark in Belarus and outside. But at the same time, we weren't put aside. If we go facts by facts, what has been performed using the money that we've raised and what's been implemented and brought to the level of certification, we're talking about two products: urban passenger and cargo transportation, designed, developed, tested, certified in different forms. In parallel with that, in order to diversify the technology, to protect the technology, and to showcase the technology and prove that it can work in different climatic conditions, a second R&D center was set up in the desert environment, and it successfully passed the tests and have been certified, and a number of transportation solutions are now in place with the use of the string transportation technology. And we're talking about both urban passenger and cargo transportation in this case. As for, and all of it, sorry, I skipped one part, and all of it was accompanied by the creation of new legal entities and the creation of an entire financial legal model framework for the company to be able to work in the international market. And it's quite logical that over that time, with increased number of legal entities or companies in the structure of the holding, it's logical, natural that a certain reorganization should happen, which will not impact us. It will not dilute our shares. It just needs to be put in order, in certain order. And that's what restructuring is meant. And that's what Dr. Inytsky said at the end of 2023, that a correct financial legal framework needs to be set up, put in place. And we have the vector of the development of the company. We showed it last year, the vector of development or the roadmap until 2030, what the company plans to do. And if we now take a look at the current stage of development, and as for the high-speed transportation, over those 90 years, so I'm not talking about the year 2014 because we lost that year. I'm talking about since 2015, in 9 years. In terms of the high-speed transportation, the company created a prototype for the rolling stock, for the vehicle itself, and the company ran some tests. But it doesn't mean that the company showcased the technology of the high-speed transportation as a individual standalone third project with up to 500 kilometers per hour speed. Yuri, I will go back to your question. So for that, 25 kilometers of road of tracks needs to be built, and to be able for the company to show the highest speed. But before that, design work should be made. A lot of other works should be carried out as far as the innovation, engineering, and technological works are concerned. And this is what Dr. Initsky and his team are working on right now. So we've come to learn not so long ago that the company plans to implement this particular project on a different continent, in a different country. And not just anywhere, but in the United States. So, if we say that this is the last stage of development of the string transportation technology, i.e. high-speed transportation, then it would be logical to say that it can take the shape of a completely new project or area of development, because at this stage, other fundraising approaches might be used. I'm not talking that crowdfunding will be eliminated. No, probably the terms and conditions will change. And I'm just making my assumptions. It's just my guesswork. It's not something that is set in stone. If the high-speed string transportation is to become a separate project, then the fundraising project funding terms will be different for sure. And those people who will, or investors who will be willing to invest into high-speed transportation, they will be associated exclusively with high-speed transportation and will have no relation whatsoever to the urban and cargo transportation that we are currently part of. But of course, part of our funds, a small part of our funds, was used to implement, or sorry, not to implement, to design and develop the prototype of the high-speed transportation. But of course, some of the money that we raised was used to do the engineering and the development part. But it is very minute, very small part, percentage-wise, of the entire amount needed to set up a third R&D center for high-speed transportation and to build a 25 kilometers long stretch of tracks. But it doesn't mean that we will be unfairly dealt with or cut off. I'm just telling you how it might be potentially in the future. And again, it doesn't mean that we will be set aside or will be completely isolated. We will have for sure a share, a stake in the high-speed transportation, albeit that share, that stake may be smaller than expected. Because if that project, high-speed transportation project, becomes a standalone project, and we financed only a small part of it, then of course we will have a smaller stake. There is nothing unfair about it. Nobody like cheated us or anything. I'm saying that the technology is developing, the company is developing, and certain evolution needs to happen. It should evolve into something more serious, something having a different form of ownership, probably. So for sure, I know that there will be company official statement or explanation on this topic, but me being the head of the platform and having some awareness of the current processes, I'm having such meetings with you, trying to assure you that all the obligations will be met and are being met, that Dr. Unitsky is even doing more for the money that he received. And if this, if how to better put it, if the method of raising funds or method of implementation of the high-speed transportation changes, and I'm not talking about, for example, instead of crowdfunding, there will be big investors or high rollers coming into play. Probably the location will be different. Instead of the territory of the Republic of Belarus, Eastern Europe, or Emirates, is going to happen like in America. If it happens, it happens. We should take it easy and with common sense and not fall prey to panic. It will all depend on the minimum package into that project for investors. Again, it's all hypothetical. Well, Gregory, if it's going to be a standalone project, and that's what I think will happen, and it's going to be correct in my opinion, and I'll explain why. The approach is going to be different. Rounds of funding will be different. Several sub-stages will appear because the way we look at it within the prism of 15 stages of development, the original 15 stages. But those 15 stages of development are not relevant anymore, considering the current state of affairs, the current factors, because already certain modifications need to be made to that roadmap. And it's normal. It's things change, businesses change. This question has been on the table for quite some time, Mac says. What question, Mac? What question has been on the table for quite some time? Could you please clarify? The high-speed transportation question. Well, we have answers to those questions. I already told you. Alexander says, what we funded in the high-speed transportation, that's what we're going to own. 2 prototypes, a 1-kilometer long track, and R&D. Well, Alexander, what did we fund in terms of high-speed transportation? We financed the prototype, its development, but that prototype hasn't been tested yet, officially tested. It can go on the tracks, yes. It can develop the speed of, can it develop the speed of 200, 300, 500 kilometers now? No. The track that it used, it was 1 kilometer long. But for the high-speed transportation vehicle to be tested, safely tested, you need a longer, way longer stretch of tracks, and they will require completely different kind of wheels or traction mechanism, the braking mechanism. All we have is a prototype right now, but Anatoly created models before as well. We all saw the first models on the first testing grounds. There were prototypes too. Then the wheels were changed for the steel wheels, and it was all done to show the stability of the string transportation technology in terms of bearing load. If you remember, the old prototype was just like a laboratory on wheels, doing research and tests for the stress resistance of the tracks and load bearing loads. But I don't want to go all technical on you because I might make a mistake. But back then, it could easily be called a laboratory on wheels. And all of the R&D that Anatoly had are now part of the intellectual property. And that's where we came into play. We funded urban passenger and cargo transportation, and only a small part was invested in high speed. And Alexander said, what we financed in high speed, that's what we'll own in the high speed. And we financed a very small bit of the high-speed transportation. I'm actively monitoring our chat in Telegram, and I very much liked a very objective comment written by one of our clients, investors into the string transportation technology. I will read it out to you. I see that we are kind of running late, but it's okay. We will have it as long as necessary, the meeting. I would like all of us to be on the same page. Give me a second, I will find a comment. Nikolai Ponomarenko wrote this example. Let's assume a designer comes to us with a cool project for a residential house, 14 floors. And he says, we have a design, and the investors are ready to give $100 to buy it off. And let's build it together. So we design, you build, we finance, and then together we share the profits. And then he says, we built 12 floors on those terms. And then the investors tell us that the construction prices are higher and we cannot finance it anymore. So you have designers. So design something else on the side, and then the money from that project will be used to finish the construction. So instead, we can find investors for the remaining floors. But since the foundation and the previous like 12 floors have been already been built, should I also co-own the previously built floors or only the last 2 floors? So let's see if I can copy paste the entire example in the chat. So this example perfectly reflects the situation that we are in. So you can, dear participants, like copy paste that example and then break it down yourselves. But this example is very good to reflect our situation because we were investors at the time when the foundation was laid of the entire structure. Of course, the foundation of the high-speed transportation is based on the foundation of the Ecotechno Park. 2, the urban and cargo transportation. That's where the prototype of the high-speed transportation was created and tested. So it's just like, this is a foundation. And because we are associated with it, then of course we will receive a certain stake in the high-speed transportation once we move on to the new format of fundraising. But we will not be completely isolated or cut off from the process. But if we are completely honest and objective, it's just probably 1.5% of money that we raised compared to the actual 100% of the required funds. And you would ask why it's 1.5% only. But just make your own math. How much money is needed to build a 25-kilometer stretch of tracks? You first buy the land, then you do the geological surveys, all the calculations, the design work, everything that goes even before the actual construction works. Compared to the entire budget of the project implementation, then you do the construction work, then you build the tracks themselves, and it will be way more innovative than what we see. And you might see that Anatoly every time gives new solutions, more innovative solutions. Every track is becoming lighter, not like even of higher quality, because all tracks are of high quality, but more innovative solutions are used. So Mac is asking how much money was collected in total. Well, let's do it. Let's ask ourselves how much money is needed. I don't have the total numbers because we have our own crowdfunding platform. Then we have Skyway Capital. Then we had another fundraising platform before that helped raise funds for the string transportation technology. But nevertheless, it's still less than was required at each particular stage. Anatoly is asking why high-speed transportation, why doesn't the company take care of the high-speed transportation later, after the GTI company starts receiving profits? But why shouldn't it? Why shouldn't the company do high-speed transportation? The company already has ready-to-use commercial products. They're ready to be deployed in the commercial market. So in this commercial market, there will be customers that will be ordering those commercial products. So in that commercial market, will bring profits to the company for those two products. So Anatoly, you're saying, since you are still a young investor, you have time to wait for the company to start receiving their profits, and you are ready to wait. But there are investors that don't want to wait, and they don't want to wait for the high-speed transportation to start receiving profits. They would like to share in the profits received from the sale of urban and cargo transportation. You see? This is A. And B, we all know that Dr. Nitsky is working in different areas, and it doesn't prevent him from, at the same time, working in the rocket-free space exploration area, to be working in the agrarian sector, like Humus, the Black Earth project, and then continuing improving the current urban and cargo transportation. And he, being the engineer and the developer, is directly involved in the process. So why should we wait until the high-speed transportation is deployed? We should start doing it already, and we shouldn't be waiting for the competition to appear, because the current world dictates mobility as a priority, because that's what we need to do. We need to be as mobile as possible and do it in an environmentally friendly way. And our technology meets all the criteria of that priority. We are part of the very contemporary trend. Why should we wait? Just take a look at the dynamics of the high-speed innovations, their development, and draw your own conclusions. Just try and remember the Hyperloop that Elon Musk tried to develop with a number of other companies. And Hyperloop is nowhere to be seen. They abandoned this project, whereas Dr. Initsky managed to create a whole sector-forming project in a matter of a couple of years. And there is not a single shred of doubt that it's going to happen, the high-speed transportation, considering what has already been achieved. High-speed transportation is a sure shot. It will go. What all we need to do is to be actively involved in the process. And by that, I mean to boost, to activate the crowdfunding activities to increase. And when the reorganizing happens and when the project, the process is launched in another country, doesn't matter. We will still be able to actively participate in the process. Maxim, what are the chances that attractive investment promotions will happen in the near future? Grigory, if you mean the current promotion, whether we will have a similar offer in the near future, well, the chances are quite high. There is a chance that we will again run our summer promotion on the same terms, but if it happens, it will not be run for a very long time. It will be for a short period. Mac asks, what reorganization in a different country? Question mark. I'm talking about the reorganization of the structure of companies and intellectual property. What I mean, if the company decides to make high-speed transportation a separate project, it's already can be called a reorganization, restructuring. If it happens in the territory of the United States, so this is your location, restructuring / reorganization in a different country. I guess that's what you meant. High speed in US. If intellectual property of the high-speed transportation becomes a separate project, then the capitalization and the market value of the shares of the companies GTI and USkyTech will proportionally decrease. Why do you think it will decrease? The capitalization of GTI will not decrease. What will decrease is our percentage in the high-speed transportation. That's it. It will not affect the value of the shares of the GTI and USkyTech companies. Well, if we follow this particular logic. You understand, Anatoly, what I'm talking about? Mac is asking, when are we going to have the IPO? Well, Mac, I already answered that question. I don't want to repeat the question, the answer again. But okay, IPO will happen when all the criteria are met. And that's when the pre-IPO shares will become shares. But as for the procedure itself, I guess I started my meeting with that question. If you are not with us from the beginning, then please watch the recording. I will translate one more question from English. And then someone asked me about the Ecotechno Park. So when will the fundraising happen for high-speed transportation? Paresh Patel. Where will high-speed transportation be collected by crowdfunding? In the similar way as it is today. Our platform will be part of it after it is updated. The work is being done right now. The RSW Systems platform will be entirely like rebranded. We're going to have a full rebranding of RSW Systems. both the legal aspect and the marketing aspect of it. So yeah, we will be involved in the fundraising for high-speed transportation as well. Anatoly, let's not hypothesize here. Let's not do any guesswork. Capitalization will not change for us as early investors because Anatoly Unitsky is going to be wise about it, I'm sure. He will make everything in his power to prevent the company losing its value. We can fantasize about it, we can do guesswork, but it will be just our fantasies. The opinion that I'm expressing does not only come from my personal understanding, but also it comes from my observations, from the information that I get, sometimes inside information or public information. And I'm trying to convey it to you without violating the terms of use. One of the first questions was about visiting Eco Techno Park. So here's the deal. After we launch our rebranded platform, Micron Global, with the new back office, absolutely new personal account, quality, up-to-date, innovative back office, with a new compensation plan, marketing plan, we're going to have a very interesting period when we are going to participate in a long-term promotion. And the finale of that promotion will be a huge live event with the visiting of Eco Techno Park. Most probably it's going to be in the United Arab Emirates, but probably in Eco Techno Park as well in Belarus. But most probably it's going to be UAE, United Arab Emirates. And then the winners of that promotion will surely be given a ticket, a visit to the R&D center, and we will be able to witness things that many people didn't see. And if you saw it already, you will have a chance to see it again and charge yourselves with positive emotions. Take a ride on rolling stocks, because many of us haven't visited the Eco Techno Park for quite some time. And many of us haven't visited the R&D center in Sharjah either. A lot of things have changed. Marina is asking, will Belarusians be eligible to participate in the new back office? Yes, 99.9% chance that Belarusians will be able to support the technology as well. What else I wanted to tell you? Just 1 second. Well, in general terms, as for the questions, I think I've answered most of your questions. As for the platform, dear friends, and active participation in it, it is important for us to understand. 1 second, what will be the promotion? Question mark. Suraf should hurry. 1 second, I will have it translated. Just 1 second. I need to know what it means. So what will be the promotion? Well, it depends what you mean. If the company allows us to extend the current summer promotion, then we will and there is a chance that the company will allow us to extend the promotion, then we will extend it for a short period of time. I'm talking about the summer discount that we currently had that ended at the end of July. As for the Eco Technopark visit the Eco Technopark, then it will happen. This promotion will be launched together with the launch of our new updated, rebranded platform, Global Micron Global. And then, as I told you, we will have a new marketing plan. And in the new marketing plan, I will lift the veil here a little bit. You will be able to earn from the entire depth of your structure, from all the levels of your team. You will be able to build your new career on the new platform. It will be completely different money that you will be able to earn from your activities, from your active work. So it is very important right now for you to keep track of the news, because gradually we will be running closed meetings for those who are ready to work with us as active partners, not just passive investors, but active agents of our crowdfunding platform. And that's where I'm going to present our marketing plan, compensation plan. That's where I will give you the step-by-step transition algorithm. There will be a separate promotion as reward for your activity before moving to the new marketing plan. You will have certain bonuses and privileges for you to receive high statuses, ranks in our new marketing company, in our new marketing plan, and for you to enjoy a number of privileges. And all of that interesting work is not very far off. It will happen very soon. Lazat is asking, whose shares are we going to sell in Micron? Lazat, I already answered that question. It was answered in December, in January. Just go and watch the video. But you're asking whose shares we're going to sell. But whose shares, pre-IPO shares, are we selling right now? There is no one else whose shares we can sell. We are promoting string transportation technologies. And through our platforms, RSW and Skyway Capital, people receive pre-IPO shares by investing. So your question is moot. I mean, we're going to sell pre-IPO shares of Global Transport Investment, not the high transportation company, because we are part of the Global Transport Investment, GTI. And Lazat, you've been an investor for quite some time, and this is something that you should know by default. On our new platform, it's going to be a full-fledged corporate, we're going to have a full-fledged corporate training, absolutely for free. And that training will cover the entire period from registration to your career growth. On the current platform, there is no point introducing this training module because a couple of months left before the transition happens. But what I can do is to give answers to your questions in the form of live communication. But for you to be an informed investor and for you to be owner of the pre-IPO shares in the string transportation technology, it is very important to know everything that is out there related to the venture investment and string transportation. But of course, on our platform, a huge role will be given to training with the use of artificial intelligence. Those changes are going to be very cool. You're going to like them quite a lot. And all we have to do is wait for it and get ready for it. And by getting ready, I mean being proactive. And that's what I wanted to tell you by the end of our meeting, that a huge role right now should be played not by your personal investing in the technology, but by your disseminating the information, spreading the word about this technology. Yelena Samokhina somewhere wrote that we haven't yet finished paying for one installment and another installment is opened. Well, it is good that you put your trust in Dr. Yunitsky's technology and this project, but we are strong if taken together, if we continue financing and supporting the technology, but we can be even stronger if we have new people, if we have more users, if we have new investors, because it's like a snowball effect. New regions and new countries will be discovered, new markets will be opened. That's why it's important to invite new people to our project and to our initiative, and to share the information with as many people as possible. If and when we extend the summer promotion, discount promotion, you should be very proactive and attract new people. I wanted to give you a real life story from my life based on true events. It happened last Saturday. I met the head of one of the leading real estate agencies in my city, and during our conversation, she asked me what I was doing. I'm just giving you an example for you to understand how easy it is right now to work with new people and share information. So yeah, she asked me what I did. And in 2 words, I gave her my picture, the picture of my work, and I showed her a video of our company. Alexander says it is easier to promote our company today compared to the year 2014, 2015. And this is what I wanted to prove to you and show it to you. So when I showed what has been done so far, just the presentational video of the technology that you can find on YouTube channel of the company UST. It's like 4 minutes long, the presentation of the technology. It's not just pictures and blueprints, sketches. They show the company, the personnel, the certification of the urban passenger and cargo transportation, 2 R&D centers, and not just anywhere, but in Eastern Europe and United Arab Emirates. A lot of people were surprised by knowing that an R&D center is in Eastern Europe. And she's asking me like, do you have it already? And I said, yes. And she says, really? And I said, yeah. And this is the time when the company already has received first commercial orders. And I asked her, you being the specialist in the real estate, and she's been working at least 20 years in the real estate sector, I asked her a question. You being the specialist in real estate, please tell me, how much time does it take before the developer starts digging the first pits for the foundation of the house? And she says, well, it depends, from 2 to 5 years, land allocation, geological survey, permits. So Tatiana, do I understand you correctly that even before to start digging pits and to lay the foundation, you need at least 5 years? And she says, yes. And then add 3 years of construction, then 1 year of bringing into operation. And I said, let's do some math here. Let's calculate the entire period. So she says, from 2 to 5 years, it's just preparation for the first digging work and building the foundation and the start of the construction work. Let's say 3 years on average, the preparatory work. Then add 3 years of construction, and then put it into operation. And we're talking about the best case scenario, 6 years. And I asked her this question. Why? I asked. And I said, Tatiana, so it takes 6 to 7 years. And she says, yes, some of the buildings took 10 years to build. And I said, okay. So when you build a new building, you use technologies that are like dozens of years old, right? Like excavators, etc., etc. She says yes. And I said, imagine we are building a house using technologies that have been recently invented. Like it was just sketches in someone's textbooks or notebooks, like Dr. Unitsky's. And dozens of years of mistrust. And imagine that that's what we are supporting right now. And thanks to the trust and belief in the technology, in 9 years, we've achieved what you've just seen in the video. And she says, 9 years only? And I said, yes. But take into consideration that right now the company already has dozens of commercial orders placed. Then the period or the waiting period until the capitalization and the monetization is ever shorter. So whereas previously we had to wait for 10 years for the investor, the people coming right now will have to wait way less. And what do you think was her next question after we had a conversation? It took me like 70 minutes to talk to her, to show the video to her, like, sorry, 7 minutes to explain it, everything to her, and then show her the video, like 15 minutes in total. So what was her next question, do you think? Dear colleagues, this is a question from me to you. What do you think was her next question after I explained and showed her everything, which took me like 15 minutes when I compared what our project does to the standard construction project? What did she tell me? What is the minimum entry? Like, I don't know, where should I take my money to? Or shut up, take my money. She asked me, how can I invest in your company? Well, guys, you were right, but to literally, that's what she said. How can I invest in this technology? So what I'm saying is that right now it is way easier to promote this technology than it was before. So the risks have been dealt with, like 90% of risks related to the well, not 100% of risk related to the technology are dealt with. We have nothing to prove to anyone because in Eco Techno Park, this technology is being now publicly discussed to legalize it and to make it a separate transportation sector. When the Construction Bureau becomes an R&D institute, this is something incredible when a commercial for-profit organization becomes an R&D institute, the way state-owned institutes do. And a commercial company all of a sudden becomes an R&D institute. This is a great achievement. And it is way easier today to invite new people. You like point A, B, C, and the next question is, how much should you buy? And they either use the opportunity or they don't. Yes, all risks have been taken care of. And the new investors will come when everything is on a silver platter. But of course, since they're getting everything on a silver platter, they won't be enjoying discounts 300 and 600. So we early investors took all the risks, faced all the risks. But for that, we enjoyed way bigger discounts and received way more shares, pre-IPO shares, than the new investors will receive. But even now, discounts 20, discounts 40 can be considered as potential multipliers, X's, on your return on investment. In other words, by how much you can increase your investment capital per money invested. Even with discount 20, $1,000 can yield you a return of $20,000. Later down the road, when the company launches its IPO and starts paying dividends, it's already a lot of money. Of course, right now there are alternatives out there. You can invest into crypto market. The access there are very big when people can invest $1,000 in different coins, and then they can get a lot of access out of it. Yeah, but we also have crypto offers. We have tokens that are already listed on several crypto exchanges? Well, there are some fluctuations in the crypto market. The prices go up and down, but even the companies present even in those markets, when people will tell you that I better invest in crypto, go and buy the tokens related to the string transportation technology, the digitalization of it. But if we compare, we should remember that we're talking about the real sector of economy, the innovative sector of economy. And if we go and compare it to the last 50 years, the innovation companies, the companies that brought innovations to the IT, finance, communication, medicine, those companies showed like 1000x capitalization. And the string transportation technology, dear friends, in the next dozen of years will show multiple X's for sure. I don't want to give you any specific numbers, but you don't have to have like a crystal ball or something to predict the future. You just make an objective assessment of the trends, current trends, to draw the conclusion that the string transportation technology is going to cost way more than the stated nominal value, face value of the share. That's something I'm 100% sure. As for the crypto market, Ruslan put it right, correctly. Crypto market had a major downfall like the day before yesterday. That's a very, very volatile market. Well, as you've seen today, all questions have answers. Even the most inconvenient questions have answers. And I'm always ready to answer any question that you have. Some of our colleagues here wrote that moderators delete some questions or comments from the group, but I already covered that part on numerous occasions. When people cross certain lines, certain boundaries, when they start like insulting people, offending people, we don't want to have anything to do with those people. And very often I myself ban such people and delete their messages when they start insulting and being offensive. So you shouldn't be, upset if we do that, because we're here to support the string transportation technology, to expand our community, and to do it in a constructive, friendly, objective manner and together. And if someone doesn't like something, of course, you are free to express your opinion. Sergey says, you're not saying the truth. You're just deleting inconvenient questions. But come on, Sergey, if a person is asking, for example, someone wrote, someone is driving jeeps and we are like public transport, have to use public transportation instead. This is not constructive criticism or comments. Why would we need such comments? It was like more like label, or it's more like, I don't know, slander. And someone is asking, how can we revert back our tokens? Well, a complete step-by-step guideline was provided for those people. And very soon there will be very good news published about it. So wait for it and you'll get your answers. As for the inconvenient questions, there are no such things. There are rational questions and non-rational questions. So yes, some people were blocked, banned for their questions. Of course, if they cross the line, I personally even ban such people. I have full rights to do that because this is a chat for constructive discussion. And if the comments are destructive and crossing the boundaries, then since it is our chat, we are entitled to set the boundaries. You are still an investor in the string transportation technology. You are included in the registry of shareholders, but you will not be able to comment. I remember during one of my meetings, someone wrote in the chat, let Unitsky design and invent the fountain of youth, and then we will get our dividends. So do you think this kind of comment is worthy? It was like spitting into Dr. Unitsky's face, and I will not tolerate such behavior. And I will deal with such people. Those people are not, should not be with us in the same boat. So I will, without hesitation, delete such messages and ban such people. Again, as I said in my meeting, we have answers for all constructive questions. And if we don't have information for some of the questions, then we tell people to wait. Like, let's wait and see, and let's see if my opinion reflects the reality or not. But usually when I express my personal opinion, I always stress it. I'm telling that this is Maxim Isyp's personal opinion and not the official state of the company or like an official statement of the group of companies of Dr. Unitsky. This is my personal opinion, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But as you do, but usually when I express my personal opinion, I substantiate it. I back it up with the information I have and the news that has been published. Sometimes I have inside information to back it up. But of course, I'm not in a position to disclose that inside information. So, dear friends, let's do the following. Especially when we are going to have the summer discount promotion extended, if it is extended. I cannot guarantee anything, but I will do my best to convince the company to allow us to extend the summer promotion. So our task is to actively participate in it, and not just by investing personally into increasing our investment portfolio, but also let's put some efforts into spreading the word, disseminating the information, inviting new people. And when we resume this promotion, we will hold a huge presentation and we will notify you. And your task will be to invite people to that presentation. Because guys, if it's just you who will come to that presentation, then again, I will just like deliver you the same old information, test my public speaking skills, but it's not going to be useful for you or for me. And if you invite new people to our presentation, there is a way bigger chance that they will become your partners, your clients in the future. So this is what is very important in my opinion, dear friends. And naturally, your personal participation in it is even more significant than like even our platform, because like the information on our platform, because they come to the presentation, then they listen to it or watch it, and then they start asking you questions. So you should be also well informed. You should be able to follow up. So that's why your participation is important as well. Piotr says, to cut it short, Watson, when we're going to receive our first money on our accounts? I don't know what you mean by calling me Watson, but as for the first money coming to your accounts, this is the information known only to the Lord Almighty. I'm not a crystal ball gazer or a tarot cards reader. I spent 2 hours explaining the benefits of the technology and the prospects, and if you haven't listened to me attentively, then rewatch the meeting, and even better, watch the video of December 2023 by Dr. Unitsky, the company's annual report, and then watch the series of broadcasts, around 8 of them in total, where the marketing company of the construction bureau, the marketing team, sales team of the construction bureau shows the progress within the commercial projects. So Piotr, if you are informed and like aware self-aware investor, then you will make your own conclusions when you will get your first cents, first money on your account. Well, instead of having just 1 hour of our meeting, it's been almost 1 hour and 50 minutes. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover today. If you still have some questions that are unanswered, ask them in the chat and I will prepare the answers next time. But if we want this summer discount to be extended in July, when it happens, we will inform you about it. And it is very important that those who care about the string transportation technology, care about its development, should put all efforts into inviting new people to our huge presentation, because I don't want that presentation to be run only for us veterans in this project. Thank you very much, dear friends. Thank you for your participation in our today's meeting, for your attention, for your attendance. And if you liked the meeting, then give me a score from 0 to 10. From 5 to 10 is good. And if you didn't like it, then put the mark that you think reflects the quality of the meeting the best. Okay, I see mostly 10s. We have 7s and 8s. That's good. That's more than the average. It means that certain members of our audience enjoyed it and did not simply waste their time. Thank you very much. And okay, dear friends, then see you next time. As for the presentation, please keep track of the news. And if the company allows us to resume this summer promotion, then our presentation will be dedicated to this event, to the extension. So probably on this Saturday, we're not going to have any presentation, but then please follow the news and we will keep you notified. Okay, thank you very much and have a nice evening and a very productive end of the week. Bye-bye, everyone.